This interview is a paid advertisement. It was produced on behalf of the company and is considered investor relations activity under Canadian securities law. All statements and opinions are those of the guest and should not be construed as investment advice. Please do your own due diligence or consult a registered investment advisor. Hello and welcome to the Gold Newsletter channel. Hello and welcome to a breaking news special. My name is Kai Hoffman. I'm the EdJR mining guy over on X, and together with Brian London, I'm the host of the Gold Newsletter channel. And as you can see, I'm not in my studio. I'm traveling. I'm on the road. This is probably the first interview I'm doing in an airport lounge. I was scheduled to do an interview with Ian, but flights got delayed and all of that. But we have to talk about the press release that the company put out. It's Outcrop Silver, by the way, is the company. They put out drill results this morning, and we have to talk about them. What do they mean? They're ultra high grade, over 3 kilos of silver, absolutely spectacular grades, over 2.35 meters. And we'll talk to the president and CEO to get some context. But before I switch over to my guest, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously, and we much appreciate it. Now, without much further ado, Ian, it's great to have you join us here on the Gold Newsletter channel. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Guy. As you can see, if we should look back at the old interviews and see how much bigger my smile has gotten over the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, is it just a function of the silver price, Ian?
Well, it's a combination of a couple of things. I was actually at Gold Messi where somebody, an investor, and I've said it in my speech, he said, Ian, you're totally changed. Like, you are much happier. And it was because even at Gold Messi, I had a story which was now a value proposition. It was basically, we are going to be adding ounces for way less than we are currently valued. And so even if silver goes sideways, we are going to be making money for our investors. And it was like, it's about a 4-to-1 ratio. So yeah, now that silver price is also on our backs, yeah, my smile even gets even bigger. I was like, I said, finally, when we get into this, we got a true value proposition that we can take to shareholders, that we won't be, that death to dilution, all of this stuff. I said, it will be like Murphy's Law. As soon as we get everything in control, the market's going to take off. So it's a great problem to have, right? But it is like things are all coming together all at the same time. So yeah, it's getting exciting.
Yeah. It's all about timing, and sometimes you just luck out, and timing is absolutely perfect. Silver over $41 as we speak here, Ian, and you put out a fantastic set of results this morning. Run us a bit through the highlights. Already teased out the 3 kilogram interval here in the release, but run us through it.
So I'm going to put it into context, right? So up in the northeastern section of our deposit, call it about a third of the northern part, was our original resource estimate of 37 million ounces. And as most people know, it's one of the highest, if not the highest, undeveloped silver resource in the world, and maybe even the second highest in the world of any silver mine or project, right? So it's extremely high grade. And there were some good hits within it, but it's really based on multiple veins up in that northeast. So about a year ago, we said, we're going south. We have to show people where this thing can grow. And then since the beginning of the year, it's all about, we're going to the next stage, an upgraded, a bigger resource. Our valuation is based on our number of ounces in the ground. The best way I can create value for my shareholders is increase those ounces. And now we have a way, and we know where they're coming from. So over the last 12 months, we've had 6 discoveries, right? Which, the original resource was 6 new discoveries. But the other piece as well are they continue to have good intervals of high grade primary silver. So now that we have one of those at Guadual, 2 meters plus 2 meters over 3,000 grams per ton silver, not silver equivalent. So we are now hitting. Although we get into trouble from CIRO when we say ore shoots, but that's what they are, right? It's when you get these areas within the vein system where you get a more thickness and a higher grade. They're not ore, but that's the geological term that's used for them. We get these shoots that of higher grade material and bigger thicknesses that really makes our job a whole lot easier in our upcoming resource estimate.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Those grades should be really high. Should be highlighted in the mineral resource estimate that you're planning. I still think for Q1 in 2026, if I'm not mistaken. Ian, is that still the plan?
That is still the plan, and it's looking good. So I keep on saying it's early Q1, and we're targeting at least 60. This kind of news only makes it more comfortable saying that, and we're going to be a little bit more forward in now that we're getting more confidence, right? Our vice president of exploration is a resource geologist. He's not an exploration geologist, and I'm a mining engineer. So we don't like risk, right? So we like, just like I said, we went from 37. How do we get to the bigger next stage? Next is we need to know where it's coming from. So it was all about drill testing. We had the discoveries, and then where are we going to get our most bang for our buck? Earlier in the year, we had Aguilar. Aguilar was 6.5 meters. The best hit was 6.5 meters at an 828 grams per ton, which is grade meters of over 5,000. Then Mangos was a big one, 18 meters at 992. That's 18,000 gram meters. And then this one is about 7,000 gram meters. So we now have nice pieces within that entire section that are nice, good widths, which will add a lot of bang for the buck, and it makes it a whole lot easier to add ounces. So we're obviously celebrating. We're obviously excited about this result because it makes it a whole lot easier to deliver on what we went out to deliver, said we were going to deliver on. And I really feel that the company said about 18 months ago, we're going to demonstrate how this thing can get bigger. And we've been drilling pretty much nonstop since April of last year, and executing and delivering on everything that we said we are going to deliver on. And we are still sitting on cash, right? When, market is getting very, very hot. And so we'll be able to deliver not just the beta to silver price, but a beta because our resource is going to grow. Our resource is going to get bigger.
Before we get to the capital market side, and you touched on cash there briefly, but just on the geology side, like you're drilling with 3 rigs, runs a bit through like where are the rigs positioned right now, and what are they drilling, what are they targeting right now?
Sure. So we originally had in our plan 24,000 meters with 2 drill rigs. We brought on a 3rd drill rig, basically thinking of the next resource estimate, right? So we want to go to at least 60 million ounces, but we want to see if we can get close to that 100 million ounce mark as quickly as possible, especially in this market. So we said, silver price is looking good. Let's bring in a third rig. So we basically have 1 rig in the center, and it's basically in the middle pack where you have Guadual, Jimenez, Aguilar, which is kind of this nice package of veins right in the middle section. The second rig was down at the bottom at Los Mangos, and it's kind of finishing up. Although physically it will turn into our 3rd rig, right? But the idea is then we go back up to the north, and we have some old veins that didn't have enough density. I think it's Alaska, and there's one more, and I can't remember the name, but one is Alaska that we're going to make sure it gets enough drilling density that it comes into the next resource estimate. And that leaves the 3rd drill to continue to do. We're looking for new targets. It's going for discoveries. It can be more focused on discoveries, while the other 2 drills continue just to be focused on filling in and doing that boring work of getting the drilling density to make sure it's included in the resource estimate. So the 3rd drill right now, we're trying to get it out towards Frias, which is the furthest southwest. So Mangos is to the east, Frias is to the west, and it's a very exciting target. The other big deal is, we have built such a strong relationship with the community that even lets this happen, right? That we're basically working now over a complete 17-kilometer corridor. And it's been an amazing work in the relationship that's developed of trust that actually makes that happen, right? The other one, Espirito Santo. So Espirito Santo is the other one we're going to be putting some. So we got the center section has got Aguilar, Jimenez, Guadual, Laye. We're finishing up on Los Mangos. And then we have Espirito Santo, Alaska. And there's another one called Maris Norte, where we're going to be adding a little bit more density, all focused on resource expansion, while the 3rd drill is looking at new targets. And we're now going to probably hit about 31,000 meters instead of 24. So we're getting more aggressive on our overall. We want to accelerate things.
Fantastic. I'll have to ask you about cash position in a second, because expanding the program costs money. But before we do that, before we get sidetracked too much from the geology side, just real quick, I have to ask you, Ian, and I'm not sure you can answer, but have you given the market any type of guidance of what you're looking to target in terms of ounces for the next resource update? Is there a number out in the market, or a number you want to put out in the market in terms of guidance?
I try not to put it down on paper because it can be a jinx, right? So I don't want to jinx us, but our guidance when we have these conversations is we're looking internally, we're looking at early Q1 of next year. And we have been targeting, we've developed a program trying to get at least 60 million ounces. So that is what we're targeting, right? And yeah, and the big one is, the big part of that is that market will start pricing in that resource, and it seems it's doing it. Like it seems that we're carrying a premium valuation over a lot of the other guys because it seems that we're starting to get that percentage bonus because there's an anticipation of an upgrading resource coming in. But that's the guidance we're currently providing.
No, fair enough. Appreciate you sharing that again. Let's talk cash. Like we've seen a number of financings, and we briefly chatted before hitting the record button. You don't feel like you need to do anything foolish right now, despite being a lot of hot money being thrown around, and potentially in your direction here as well. Catch us up on the cash position of the company. You just mentioned you're expanding drilling. You got 3 rigs going. That all costs money, of course. So how healthy is the treasury?
So we still have $5 million in the bank now, starting of September, right? Our burn, it's a little bit above. It used to be about $1 million Canadian a month. With the third drill, it gets up to about 101.2, 1.3. We manage our costs extremely well. About 80-90% of our costs now are going into the ground. A lot of people tell it's what's your all-in drilling cost, and I say, well, I have my all-in corporation cost. So we're less than $500 a meter now per meter corporate. Like that is everything, every single cent that gets, even the auditor and paying for this interview, et cetera, is all included in that number. And we are extremely low on our cost per meter. Allows us to do a lot. We're now targeting 31,000 meters this year. And so do the math. We're basically $1 million a month. So that pushes out 5 months, but we have about $4 million in warrants that are in the money that are expiring September 22nd. So they're well in the money. So we expect those to come in. So we're not feeling the same stress we feel like we can get to those catalysts. And I've been telling market, we have been trading within a band over the last 2 years because we haven't had the value proposition. Now we have a value proposition. So I want to break out of that band, whether it's because of the anticipated resource estimate that's coming out, or whether it's just, silver price takes us there. But we're a growth story. I don't want to just be, hey, we're a sideways story, or buy us so you can clip the coupon, right? And I believe it's changing from a buyer's market to a seller's market. And, I know that it's sort of like Ethiopia, the drought days where, there's riot over a little bit of money, right? But I feel like we're coming into much better times and doing what is most responsible for our shareholders in terms of minimizing dilution. And not it's been feast and famine so long that people are just go fill up your boots while you can, right? So we've got money and we can wait for making sure that instead of going sideways, we really start turning into a strong value story. Because if you look big picture, if we can go from 37 million to 60 million to 100 million, in the background too, I'm making sure we're putting in the pieces, this great relationship we developed with the community, and it's gone now to the regional government, right? We're already starting the permitting processes to start a pilot scale, which allows us to quicken how fast we can get into production. But I know this might be shocking to people, but if you look at something like First Majestic, right? I think they're worth $6 billion. Please, maybe I should be fact checked on that one. But they produce in silver, I think they produce 10 million ounces of silver per year. Okay. So if you look at a Santa Ana right now, it's growing, it's building in scale, and it's near surface. Don't forget, it's called Outcrop for a reason. It's near surface and it's very high grade. We have a very supportive regional government that can help us with the permitting processes, that you can quickly see how this thing turns into a producer, right? And the great thing about Santa Ana, because it has high grade, high recoveries, and a high quality concentrate, it doesn't matter what silver price is. This project will be extremely, in my opinion, I believe it's going to be highly economic because it has everything going for us. That this will be a cornerstone to the next mid-tiers. I know it is, right? It's going to be a part of that story, and it's really, it doesn't take a lot to be a big mid-tier silver player at 10 million ounces. Like even 10 million ounces over 10 years is 100 million ounces. Just to put it into perspective of the scale this project is, it's converting from that really small high grade project to it's going to get some serious legs to it.
Yeah, adding a lot of meat to the bones here, Ian. No, it's really interesting to see, especially the grade is also really holding up here. Really looking forward to resource update to see what the reserve grade is going to be in the resource, or the resource grade. I'm not sure we can call it reserves yet. Depends on the category you're slapping on it. So we got to be a bit careful with the terminology here. Ian, like next catalyst for the company. Of course, we got more drill results coming out. We talked about the resource update in Q1. Anything else in between that we should be looking forward to? We're coming towards the end of the year here. We got about 4 months left. So anything else we should be looking forward to?
My big advice is the big catalyst that's obviously on the mind of everybody is the updated resource, right? At the end of the day, in an inefficient market, we've been grouped in a pack and we've all had a very similar valuation that's been bound. It's like basically dollars per ounce in the ground. And there's only like 5 or 6 of us that are high quality, high grade, quality primary silver projects. There is not many. We are rare as hen's teeth, right? And we've really been grouped to a very similar valuation per ounces in the ground. Now that might change in a market as it starts to heat up, right? We might bifurcate, we might start splitting up, and there might be more efficiency in the market. But at the end of the day, it was dollars per ounce in the ground. And so if we're going to go from 37 to at least 60, then our valuation should change. Now that catalyst will be a big catalyst for us, but what normally happens with a resource estimate is we are in the midst of that catalyst because there's anticipation of that resource coming out and the valuation will start changing on the back of it. So I would say the biggest catalyst for us is that we have a resource estimate, new updated resource estimate coming out. The drilling results have, come Guadual, just say Ian and team are going to be able to do it. Right. And we're rare. And oh, by the way, what's the other catalyst that silver is now past $41 an ounce and is really getting exciting. So I always say, investors are looking for leverage. They're looking for amazing projects that can scale. Right. And that's one of the biggest advantages of Santa Ana right now. It can scale. Right. The others basically have to push it down further towards a production decision, where I get to push it towards a production decision and scale it at the same time. So we're really excited about how things are looking down the horizon at Outcrop Silver.
I was going to wrap it up here now, but I've got one more question, Ian, because I saw in the press release you're using $1,800 gold and $25 silver for your calculations. At $41 silver, do you have to change those metrics at some point? Do you have to change the input?
Of course.
Is the market forcing you? And what will the resource update look like if you start changing the silver price that you're calculating with? So maybe as a last question here.
So, if you use a 3-year trailing average on the next resource update, what will happen is that the gold silver ratio has gone up, right? So the nice thing is we're 73% silver in the last resource, which means we're 27% gold. So that ratio might change a little bit. We might end up being, I'm just making numbers up, so please, 65% or 65%, 35%, right? So it will actually make the grade go up, right? Because the performer has been the gold. So that gold equivalency actually adds grade, right? But internally, it's one of the advantages of being a resource geologist on one side and the mining engineer on the other side is that I can see how valuation has been created, and I see and we get into project development, how your valuation is pegged. Right. I know that one of the reasons we have our value is the grade. And it's one of the reasons why we didn't just add marginal ounces around us. And we continue to go we needed good ounces, because the goal here is to make sure that the resource estimate comes out at the same grade or better or very close. Right. And a little bit of bonus from a little bit more gold credit, we'll add to it, but we know where our underlying value is. It comes from the silver. So it's not going to be a massive change, but maybe like a 10% change or something like that, because we're still so primary. A lot of projects, even primary silver projects, are still 51, 52%. And then there's a bunch of silvers that aren't really silver. They're lead zinc companies or whatever. So we have a little bit more room to manage that, right?
Absolutely. Ian, what a great update. Really appreciate it. Great to catch up after the summer. A lot's been going on. So really good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Gold Newsletter. Looking forward to some more drill results. Looking forward to seeing you in Beaver Creek here in the next 5 days here or so. It's coming up quick. And safe travels. Thanks so much. And to everybody else, really appreciate you watching the Gold Newsletter channel. Hope you found this interview with Ian Harris useful, educational, but also informative. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment, and share this interview with like-minded investors. And if you haven't done so, there's a subscribe button there. It doesn't cost you anything to hit that. We much appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in here from the road on the Gold Newsletter channel. Thank you so much, and take care.